being videotaped and going on YouTube, so if I fall over this board, make sure you laugh because maybe we'll get a million views or something. So we're going to talk about gender stratification. So the overall objective for today, what I really want us to understand is how is gender socially constructed, right? So first we're going to talk about the difference between sex and gender. So it's very important to know that they're not the same thing. So our sex is not the same as our gender, even though society would like to think so. So in order to see how gender is socially constructed, we're going to look at gender toys, which is gender occupations, and then kind of how we see gender in the media, so our everyday lives, and in the news, in the magazines. And then we'll end with something a little bit more serious. We'll talk about health for a minute.
Stacy, can you use the mic, please?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Alright, so maybe you can hear me a little bit better this way. Okay. Alright, so first I want to go over the difference between sex and gender. So sex is very much biological, right? So women, we have XX chromosomes, ovaries, and a vagina. That is strictly what sex means, right? It's biological. And then for men, XY chromosome, testes, and a penis. Very different, okay? So when we're talking about gender today, we're not talking about these things. So it's important for your notes and for the exam, you know that sex is biological and it's different from gender. And then also we have intersex, so everything doesn't always work out so well. 1.7%, this is for Americans, are born intersex. So there's 3 different types of hermaphrodites. You might get a little bit of both, and this is about for 5.1 million Americans in the US. And it's not important that you know the numbers, it's just that there can be different types of sexes. So what we're going to focus on today is gender. So gender is different from sex, it's very much social. And the objective again is how is gender socially constructed. So for females, we expect very feminine behaviors. And again, that's what society tells us is that women should be feminine. Whereas for men, we expect masculine behaviors for the males. And as we were saying, the objective, how is gender socially constructed? If it's socially constructed, this means that gender can be different depending on where you grow up, where you live, and even different across time. So in this image here, we have a Wadabi man from Nigeria, which is a country in Africa. So for men in this country, to show their masculinity, they wear makeup, they wear jewelry, and this is a big celebration where their hair is done. And this is how they would show, that they're a manly man, which is very different from here in the United States. So for females over there, they might not be wearing makeup. So this person's gender is different because it's socially constructed. So it depends on where you're living and even on the time period. So if we think of females, there's a lot of pictures of Marilyn Monroe going around on the internet right now because they're saying, Marilyn Monroe was a size 10 and that was femininity back then to be a little bit bigger size because with the Victoria's Secret models we see today, they're very much a size 0. So femininity and gender, it depends on how it's being socially constructed, so this can change across time. So one thing that I'm seeing a lot of, again, on social media are these gender reveal parties. It seems like almost everyone on my Facebook is pregnant and they're posting these statuses saying, we get to go to the doctor soon, we get to find out the gender of the baby. So as we covered in the previous slides, okay, so as we saw in the previous slides, what they really mean when you're going to the doctor, you want to find out the sex of your baby, right? You want to know if your baby's going to have a penis or a vagina, because that's what sex is. But for a gender reveal party, it really wouldn't make sense, because they're saying, in this picture, for their invitation, am I going to have a baby that likes guns, or am I going to have a baby that likes glitter? So that's how society is constructing gender. But, you might know of some girls or of some women police officers, women use guns too, or they might like guns. I know a few guys that like glitter, actually. So here we have, the boys are showing they like the color blue, and that girls in our society should like the color pink. So this is how gender is being ascribed and how it's being socially constructed. But they should be sex reveal parties because they're ascribing this gender to us before we're actually even born here with these parties. So for behavior and gender, this is a psychology experiment I wanted to talk to you about. So what they did was they videotaped two babies being, they had a Jack in the Box pop up at them, and they had different participants watching the baby's reaction to them with this toy. So if they thought that the baby was a male, and when the male started crying because of the Jack in the Box, they said that he was angry. Whereas with the female baby, they said that this baby was scared. So depending on if the baby was wearing blue or pink, or if it had a typical boy name or a typical girl name, you know, as they say here, identical behavior could be constructed differently based on the perceived gender. So if it was a baby boy, you know, they said he's really angry, you know, when he's a boy, and already has masculine traits. But if it was a girl, you know, she must be scared. Okay, so what we're kind of talking about here is gender roles. So these are what society expects based on if you're a male or female. So we saw that in the gender reveal invitations, and we also saw this with the experiment with the babies. So it's basically what society expects from you based on your sex. So based upon if you have a penis or a vagina. So we have gender role socialization, and this starts at a very young age, even before birth. If your nursery room is colored pink or blue, or if you come home with a football, or if you come home with a baby doll, they're teaching gender the appropriate roles based upon what society thinks. So again, the objective for today, how does society construct gender? Yes. Do you need this slide right here? Okay. Do you need the one before it?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Let me know. Okay, so here when we're going to start with the toys examples, this is a battleship game, and this version is from the 50s. So what they did here with this second picture is they just took the first picture and zoomed in on the top right-hand corner, and what we see is what it seems to be the mother and the daughter, and they're doing dishes. So I don't know about at your household, but I know at mine, you know, after we cook dinner, the females usually go and do the dishes, my grandma does, and the men sit down, and we don't play Battleship. It's usually sitting, having a beer, and watching a game. So this is when we'll need participants, because I really don't want to have to use the envelope. But does anybody have an example like this, or does anyone tell me like who does the dishes in your family? Maybe it's the men or the women, or both. Who does the dishes? You and your mom? Your brother doesn't do them? Okay, so mine don't either. So that is typical, but I have met people where they said they rotate, but as we see in this game, it's kind of expected that women should be doing the household work. So now we're going to start with gender toys. So the main concept here for your notes is just to understand that, again, how does society construct gender? Well, we see this in toys, right? So different toys for boys or girls. And then up here, this image says, it's a mecha blocks, and it says, what does it do? And they say it can be arranged in literally infinite ways and then hooked up to a computer remote control. Right? And the girl says, you know, it's a doll. What does it do? Be a doll. That's just about it. They really don't do much. And then subsequently, why are there so few girl engineers in the field? Mostly guy engineers and, you know, nurses and kindergarten teachers. Think of who your elementary school teachers were. You know, it's probably mostly female. So if anyone would like to participate, any toys that you got, or maybe the girls or the guys, just a show of hands. Did anybody have an easy bake oven? Any guys with an easy bake oven? That's perfect. Do you still cook? No, not wanting to cook. Just right the middles in here. Okay. So the next, this image, I didn't make it myself. This is something you can find online if you're trying to find a gift for a boy or a girl based on their age. So it's funny because we just saw the gender reveal invitation. For boys, they have a cap gun, and then for girls, they have glitter pens. So we're seeing guns and glitter, again, based upon if you're a boy or a girl. But it's interesting because glow sticks are gender neutral, so you can get a boy or a girl glow sticks. But either, I mean, I'm sure a girl might like a Nerf gun or a favorite treat. I mean, I don't know, girls don't get treats. But just really weird things you'll find on the internet. All of these are off Pinterest, so if you ever need examples, they're all over the internet. They're pretty ridiculous. So this one is the worst. It's girl stuff. It's a cleaning set. She has her very own dusting hand. You know, she can help clean. And Dr. Steele had an example in her lecture. They had it's girl stuff, and it was a nursing set, and then there was it's guy stuff, and it was a doctor set. So, and they still make these today. So here we have some images. This one was a project that a photographer did, and what he did is he went around the world. So these are just a couple. And he took pictures of children with their most prized possession. So the child was able to gather up their favorite toys, what they valued the most. So this girl here is from Italy, and what we see, she has some pink and purple dresses, some teddy bears, and a nice mixture of Barbie dolls. And then this boy is from Ukraine, and he has a lot of guns. I don't know if they're real or play guns, but so this is what he values most. He's very serious. So we see these, across the world. And this little guy, he's from Thailand, so he seems to really like his TV, and I believe that's a soccer ball he has, and all of his cars. So again, boy stuff. I know there's a lot of girls who play soccer, but he has his cars. And then this girl is from Albania, and she's in love with the color pink. Again, this isn't society telling her that she likes pink. She obviously likes pink, and that's me being sarcastic for your notes. She has Barbie dolls and other dolls, and just everything seems to be pink, so very much different. We noticed the boys' pictures. I couldn't find anything with the boy having the Barbie doll or anything with the color pink, but I tried to find them. Okay, so this kind of wraps up the toys section. So how can we tell if a toy is for boys or for girls? It's just a simple solution. Do you operate the toy with your genitalia? If you do, this toy is not for children. So don't buy it, okay? If you don't use your vagina for this toy, then it's for boys or for girls. So you don't have to go online and look at the list. You don't have to necessarily get only girls, Barbie dolls, and baby dolls, and men usually grow up to be fathers, so it's not a bad thing. Girls can have cars and guns if you're into guns. All right, so next we have gendered occupation. So we've kind of started with seeing how, what do children play with growing up? What do they see on commercials for, what toys they want to ask for their birthdays? So what I want to do right now is just a Google search. All right, so the examples I was talking about earlier, we have, let's just Google nurse and see what we get on Google images. Okay, we have one male here. Very happy nurse. We, of course, have a Halloween costume, but very much female, right? I mean, it's overwhelmingly males and females. So let's try doctor, of course. And we do have a female here, some males. It's mostly males, but we do have females. And my favorite one to try is the kindergarten teacher. They're very, very happy women and dealing with all of these. It's all women. I think yesterday I saw a guy on here. There he is. I was like, is that creepy? No, it's not creepy. So does anyone have a suggestion, something you can try that will probably see all males or all females? Just throw out an all male job. You have one in your head, I can tell. Yeah. So they look like guys, but they do have an ass. Is that a guy? I think that's a guy. Okay, here we go. Yep, they're all males. Or we could do construction worker, that might be good. Amy?
Can we try police officer?
Yes, we can. Think we're gonna get a Halloween costume? There's one. We got some females.
Beyonce, I will avoid video.
So it's a little bit better. Here we go, Halloween. That's why you asked that. Okay, so that's good. Yeah. Okay, so when women grow up with toys that they take care of, they might grow up to be in caretaking jobs, such as this show here. And then men with building or protecting, so construction work, doctors, surgeons, and physicians. Those are all jobs where men are overrepresented. Okay, so now we're going to play a game where you necessarily don't have to raise your hand, just holler out a number, and everyone can do it all at once. We're going to just guess how much OU professors make by department. So we're going to look at a bunch of different departments, and these are all just professors on our campus. They all have their PhD, so this is going to help you guess numbers. They're all tenured, which means they have a really good contract through the school with the top professors of their department. So we're all going to guess. Just throw a number out at me. How much do you think the management info systems gets paid every year? How much? 75,000? 80?
200.
100,000? 200,000? All right, first one's hard because we really don't know how much professors get paid actually. All right, so 128,461. Maybe some of you are going to look into management info systems now. So again, this one's hard because we don't really have a starting point to see what professors make. So again, PhDs, full tenure. Mechanical engineering, how much should they make a year? 250, 200. Okay. 127. So maybe $500-$600 less than the management info systems. I thought this one would be higher, but a little bit less than management info systems. So for these two jobs, male or female, who do you think? Male, right? They are mostly male professors here at OU. Nursing, so this is a doctorate of nursing, full professor, how much a year? 90? 80? 80? 113,000. So more than what some of you thought, but still less than the ones we saw before, right? That were in the 120s. This one's 113. Teacher of education, 90, 80, 70. So yeah, I would guess lower too. 95,119. So teachers, nurses, right? Yeah, 95 is a pretty good number. So again, with these ones, as we were talking about earlier, mostly females are overrepresented in these jobs. All right, here's another one. Women in gender studies. 70, 50, 80, 90. Okay. All right, so I mean, this one's a curveball. There actually are no women in gender study full professors on our campus. So that position isn't here. And this was from last year. I don't know if this has changed for this year. And just because this is sociology, how much do you think full professors of soc are making here? 100? Lowest so far, 89,000. And I know from our department, they are mostly females that are in sociology here on campus. So this is out of the book. It's kind of hard to read. You don't need to know any of the numbers or the percentages for your exams. We're just looking at where women are underrepresented and then overrepresented. So aircraft pilot, about 4.3% are females. We have police officers, firefighters, lawyers, and physicians, about 30% are made up of females. And overrepresented, high school teachers, as we were talking earlier. And this one's really funny, actually. Dental hygienists, 97.5%. Has anyone ever had a male dental hygienist, male clean your teeth? Okay, because I haven't had any of them. It's always a female that cleans my teeth, and then the dentist comes and it's a guy. So I haven't met the 2 or 3% that are males. And this just shows us, and again, you don't have to know the numbers, just kind of the trends and how everything varies based on your education, male or female. And this isn't necessarily that women and men are working the same jobs and getting paid differently, which does happen even though it's illegal, but based upon what jobs they're going into. So again, how is gender socially constructed? What are they playing with growing up, and what jobs are they interested in going into? So I'm assuming we all graduated high school, because we're here. So if you were to drop out and say you're done, about $43,000 for men, whereas women are earning about $32,000. And if you were to continue to graduate, get your bachelor's degree, about $79,000 for men, which is still less or more than a woman with her master's degree. And if we look down to a professional degree, so this is almost the same number as the doctorate of nursing here on campus, about $109,000, which is only a little bit more than a male with their master's degree. So if we look at the doctorate and the professional degree, as we saw earlier, men are overrepresented in jobs like lawyers and physicians, so that's why those numbers are drastically higher. And then this shows the gender wage gap. This is by age. So it's a little difficult to see, but what I just wanted to point out is the highest that it gets to is 93%, so you can think 93 cents to the dollar, and that is when you're aged 20 to 24, so kind of almost what we are right now. And then the lowest that it gets, so about 75%, is when we're aged 55 to 64. So it does vary by age. Okay, so now I wanted to switch to something that's a little bit easier to look at, and it's a lot of what we see on social media, which I assume a lot of you are on. So over here we have Aladdin, and the princess is saying, it's larger than my waist, my neck, and my head, and my hands. So it's very abnormal, actually, kind of freaky that her hands are so huge and her waist is tiny. It'd be like if my hands were probably this wide. And then here we have Jennifer Lawrence. Looks great, this is the before picture and the after picture. And she's fine in the before picture, right? And her arms aren't fat. Her arms are toned. She has muscle in her arms. They took out the muscle for the picture for the magazine, and they thinned her waist and they thinned her hips. And then over here we have what's called contouring your makeup. And there's a lot of this on Pinterest and on YouTube that shows you how to do this. So the first image is her without any makeup on. And then the next one, it's just makeup, and it's very thick and layered, and you do it a certain way. And this is with it all rubbed in, so it's the same girl. And then this is the after picture. So based upon what we're seeing from when we're younger to celebrities in the media, just everyday women are doing this with their makeup, and this takes time and it takes money. So this is kind of how we see gender played out. Okay, and then a few more pictures. So this is the Victoria's Secret models we were talking about earlier, who our society, and even over the world, kind of view them as the most beautiful women. So if you can look at the before pictures, above their chest, let's just look at chin up, no makeup, no hair done, and then down here is their makeup, their hair. And we're just like, these women are so beautiful, but they are beautiful women before, but a little bit more average looking, and then the after picture is just very photoshopped, and they've had a lot of work done. And then next we have Madonna, and she's aging, so I don't know if any of her parents are maybe about the same age as Madonna, and it doesn't look like she's aging, but in the before picture, she is. So they perked her boobs up and took rid of all the wrinkles. If you look at her shoulder, all of her wrinkles are gone. And then this last one, they changed the color of her bathing suit. They took out the water that was coming down from the shower between her legs. Her face is tan, and they touched up her stomach, her thighs, her arms. So there's a little bit of Photoshop here with the genders. Okay, so it does target both genders, so we don't want to leave the guys out, even though it kind of is more significant for females. They do Photoshop men's faces. In this picture, they made them more black. So guys in our society might be more tempted to take protein and go to the gym and have more muscles. So here's Stephen Colbert. I don't know if anyone's heard of the Colbert Report, but so this can go for males or females. And he asks who he's interviewing. Your magazine actually has positive images for girls and positive messages for girls. But if girls feel good about themselves, how are we going to sell them things they don't need? So think of the contouring of the makeup and all the different ways, going to the gym and having a certain image. Okay, now we're going to watch a video.
You would not believe the motherload I just dropped. And that's how I like to keep it. leaving not a trace that I was ever here, let alone that I just birthed a creamy behemoth from my cavernous bowels. Nothing is worse than stinking up the shared toilet at work, or the toilet at a party, or your lover's apartment. Of course, flushing removes the graphic evidence. Maybe 2 or 3 flushes if your skid marks are as tenacious as mine. But what can be done of that subtle scent of a 300-cow dairy farm? Aerosol air fresheners aren't the most effective option, or the healthiest. Trying to mask the stench, giving you a nice blend of ChemLab carnations with just a touch of feces. So, how do you make the world believe your poop doesn't stink? Or in fact that you never poop at all? Poopery. Poopery is the before you go toilet spray that is proven to trap those embarrassing odors at the source and save relationships. Simply spritzed poopery in the bowl to create a film on the water's surface that actually traps the odors in their porcelain prison. And when your little astronauts splash down and make contact with the film, they release poopery's pleasant aromas, so all those around you can smell as a refreshing bouquet of essential oils. Yes, it is a real product. And yes, it really works. We've sold over 4 million bottles. On Amazon alone, there are over 1,000 reviews rating it 4.8 of 5 stars. That's a better Amazon rating than the iPhone 5. If it doesn't completely stop your stench from spreading, send it back for a full refund. Our unconditional stink-free guarantee. If your poo stinks, click here to get your poopery today at poopery.com. So whether you need to pinch a loaf at work, cut a rope at a party, or lay a brick at your boyfriend's, your days of embarrassing smells or prairie dogging it are over. Poopery. Our business is to make it smell like your business never even happened.
So has anyone seen that commercial before? Because I know it's on YouTube a lot, so a few of you have. So it's marketed towards women, right? She's saying you don't want to lay a brick at your boyfriend's house. I don't know if guys have that, issue about being concerned. So it is a real product. This is something, how does society construct gender? Again, what we were talking about. So for females, this is a product that they're marketing towards women, and they're doing very well. And it's not a new product. I was talking to some people around campus, they do have it. I've talked to some professors who have used it for years, and so this has been out for a while. Okay, so that video showed a gender norm violation, right? Women aren't supposed to be stinking up the bathroom. So here we have a list, and I believe this is out of your book, of other norm violations. So men, wearing fingernail polish, maybe applying to babysit, throwing a Tupperware party, crying in public, all these things would be considered gender norm violations for men, and I'm sure you can think of some on your own. And for women, buying and chewing tobacco, spitting in public, knowing anything about cars is against a norm violation for women, or sending men flowers. So these are ways in which society is saying, your gender is not supposed to do this. What's your sex? What were you born with? So society gives us different guidelines. So men, you shouldn't wear fingernail polish. That's for women. But as we saw earlier, the Wadabi men in Africa, they're told by their society and taught, you should be wearing makeup and a lot of jewelry and have your hair done. Okay, so some other examples of gender norm violations. I don't know, does anyone know who Brittany Griner is? Griner, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. She plays in the WNBA. So there's a lot of articles on the internet about her and how she's violating these gender norms. So she's 6'8", she's breaking records for the WNBA. She's been asked by NBA teams, I don't know if they're joking or serious, but to join their team. Her hands are bigger than LeBron James, so she's a very tall woman. She only wears guys' clothes, and she's also a lesbian, so she's dating females. So those all can be considered gender norm violations. And then here we have, if you look on your computers or your phones and just Google half man, half woman makeup, and you'll see a lot of these. And there were so many, but I just decided to go with this one, that if you were to cover half of the face, it would almost be difficult to tell if this is naturally a man or a woman. So just dependent upon the hair and the makeup. So now we're just going to look at a few commercials and a clip from Scrubs, if you've ever seen that show, about other gender norm violations, and then a commercial of toys again for girls.
You would not believe the motherload I just dropped. And that's how I got
Seem to embody these.
Perry gets
Thin crust. Hello? Yeah, we'd like a large thin crust pizza. Brown? Chop, chop.
Manly men.
Perry gets his chest waxed.
Keith loves to knit throw pillows. Dirk might be sterile.
We have a winner.
I can't get pregnant and I already got a fertility test. So why don't you just ask him to get tested? Dirk is very sensitive when it comes to his manliness. Remember when I told him his backpack looked like a purse? Dirk, honey, I didn't mean it. Yeah.
Now there's a place
Come on in.
where her dreams have room to grow.
It's time to sleep
The
now.
Rose Petal Cottage.
Find my muffin, it's really yummy.
A place of her very own where she can decorate,
This can go here. This goes here.
entertain her imagination,
Let's do laundry.
and a special friend or two.
Ta-da!
I love what you've done with the place. The Rose Petal Cottage. It's her place where her dreams have room to grow.
Okay. So that one's the worst out of all of them. So they're actually saying in the commercial when she's putting clothes into the washer, the dryer to do laundry, that she's entertaining her imagination. And I don't know if imagination means picking out different laundry detergents or not knowing what cycle to run it on, or there's really no imagination when it comes to doing your laundry. And then it says a place for her dreams to grow, and that's fine. You know, if men or women want to be interior decorators, but there's not as many commercials as them building things and, you know, the doctor operating set versus the nursing operating set. So finally, gender and health. As we talked about earlier, based upon our occupations, you know, sometimes men are overrepresented and some or women are overrepresented. This can affect our income, as we saw earlier. So as many of us will find out in a few years, based upon your income, you might have really good health insurance, really bad health insurance.